Hello guys and welcome to Odds on Serie A Matchday 16, the first one of the new year, and of course we have Daniele Fisichella with us. Danny, welcome back. How are you?
Ciao Edu, welcome back. Well, it's been great. Good break. We enjoyed the World Cup, and now a couple of days more and back with Serie A. Now, I think it's like a new season starting on the 4th of January. Napoli leading the pack. Will they win their first Scudetto of the history? We'll see, because there is already a big match coming on the 4th of January.
Exactly. We have Napoli 8 points ahead of Milan, and we have three teams, Cremonese, Sampdoria, and Verona, that they look doomed, but still, of course, a lot of time for them to recover. All the games are going to be played on Wednesday, the 4th of January. So now, let's go on with the show. And of course, guys, comment the video with us, leave your tips, your comments, press the like, and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our videos. Danny, the early kickoff, the first game we are going to analyze is Salernitana Milan. Milan, the chaser, second in the standings, 8 points away from Napoli. The last game was a victory, suffer victory against Fiorentina thanks to an own goal in the very last minute. But away, they were unable to win the last two against Cremonese and in Torino. And they are facing a team like Salernitana, Dane, that they had an amazing 2022. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to do the same in the new year.
Well, Salernitana are 10 points above the drop zone, so they've been amazing. Yes, the 2022, they got saved under Davide Nicola. It was a real miracle. Nobody believed it. Me first. I never believed Salernitana would get saved. And this season, they got even better. They got better players. They strengthened the attacks with Piontek, with Abudlaidia, and they got two great wing-backs in Candreva and Mazzocchi. Mazzocchi was already there last season, so no wins in the last three for Salernitana, but they are unbeaten in 3 games at home. So the Arechi is a difficult place to go. Salernitana looks like a team that really know what to do, and they have troubled a lot of big teams so far this season. They always scored, the Salernitana, in the last 6 games they played at home, and against top clubs had good games. 2-2 against Juventus. They lost 2-0 against Inter, but did well. Won against Lazio 3-1. A very interesting debut for Salernitana against Milan. Ochoa, 5 World Cups for Mexico, is the last coup of Salernitana after Ribery. Now they got the Mexican goalkeeper. And Milan, I think, there's a good news for them that there was the World Cup break, because they had a lot of injuries before going to the break. Now the likes of Calabria, Salemakers, they are back. So Milan look like they have the full squad. Only Ibrahimovic and Florenzi are still on the sideline. We'll see whether Giroud will play or not after the World Cup final, and of course the very polemic substitution after 40 minutes. But the big question mark is for Milan, what sort of Rafael Leao will we see this new year? Because obviously now the talks of him signing a new contract, not signing a new contract, moving to the Premier League are going to intensify. And I think Leao was underused in the World Cup. He's one of those players I would have loved to see more, and he basically never started for Portugal. But I think they should have done much more with them, because I think he's alongside Kvaratskhelia the best player in Serie A. Winless in the last 2 away games, Milan. They only scored 9 goals in 7 away games. So far this season, Milan, last season, they were really good away. They are struggling. They scored the same number of away goals at Cremonese. But let me put this straight away. I know that having looked at the Premier League and the France Ligue 1 is not a big sample, but if you look at it at the first round of fixtures, all the big teams, they've all won. Because I think having had the break, and basically it's like a fresh start, getting the injured players back and having time to prepare, that's what really club needs. And top clubs during the season normally don't have time to train, don't have time to prepare. There is a lot of traveling. So I think having had that season, I think is going to make them even stronger, at least at the beginning. So Manchester City won, Manchester United won, Newcastle won, Tottenham drew okay, but it was perhaps a tough game. But obviously go Arsenal who won, PSG won, Monaco won, Lyon won. Okay, not a big sample. I think Milan is going to win this one. The value, though, is on the Asian handicap -1. Pays 2. So if Milan wins by 1 goal margin, no problem, get your money back. Wins by 1 more than a goal margin, gets you double your stake. Also because the 2 wing backs of Salernitana, which I mentioned before, which are really the good weapon, Candreva and Mazzocchi, they're gonna both be out for this one. Milan to win. Asian handicap -1.
Okay, Danny, I think you made a great point actually highlighting the favorites to win in the Premier League and in the League. And it's always a big question mark after so many weeks without playing. Important to have in Serie A Memo Ochoa. Actually, in Mexico, they say it's the first step for him to play another World Cup with the three. Who knows? Who knows? Hello to Casanova. Hello to Joseph, already commenting in the video. Next game, Danny, Sassuolo, Sampdoria. Let's start talking about Sampdoria because they are doomed, 7 points away from salvation. The other team from Genova, very close to go to Serie B, like the archie rivals Genoa, lost to Lecce in the last game. We know that they had a new manager, Dejan Stankovic, but then, Danny, things are not clicking. Whereas for Sassuolo, I think they are also a bit disappointed this season. Only 1 point in the last 4 games, and we expect them a little bit higher in the standings.
Yeah, I think Sassuolo, we were expecting to improve the second season under Dionisi, but they haven't. But there is a big caveat. They've been without their main man, Domenico Berardi, for so long. That's why they haven't scored many goals. But the good news is Berardi is back. And when he was playing for Sassuolo, he was really making the difference. So I'm really looking forward to see him up front with Pinamonti. Let's not forget last season, Pinamonti scored loads of goals with Empoli. Only 1 win in the last 7 for Sassuolo. No clean sheets in the last 8 games. So, the old mistakes, the fact that Sassuolo are not very good at the back, a bit naive, still continues. They conceded in every single game at home. 7 in 7, only kept 2 clean sheets actually at home against Milan at the beginning of the season was one of them. And now they face Sampdoria, which I think is a team that obviously is underperforming, underachieving. They got the worst attack of Serie A, only 6 goals scored, the second worst defense. The last 4 games have all been defeats 2-0, and 6 out of the last 7 games have been under 2.5 goals. So basically, Sampdoria concede. They don't have the weapon to come back into the games. Normally lose 1-0 or 2-0. Only score 2 goals away from home. The away form is very, very patchy. Only 1 win at Cremonese. When Cremonese missed a penalty, they won in the last minute with Colli. They were very lucky. The rumor says they're still going to play with 1 up front, Gabbiadini. So Stankovic not going with Gabbiadini and Caputo. Sabiri, the Moroccan, who had a good World Cup behind him. I think I can see Sampdoria still struggling with this one. I'm looking forward actually to see Sassuolo scoring more goals again because the main back Berardi is back. But I'm going to go for an under here. I'm going to go, by the way, the odds for Sassuolo 187 are really, really good. Under 2.5 goals, 193.
They have to react, Blue Cerchiati, if they want to stay in Serie A, because Spezia is 7 points away. Spezia, Danny, playing at home against Atalanta in the last game. They got a massive, massive victory against Verona away with Enzola scoring both goals. But it's a team that they are only beating the bottom teams, actually, in this Serie A. And now they are facing Atalanta, one of the best teams in the first 10 games of the season. But before the break, Danny, they just crumbled. 3 defeats in a row, 4 defeats in the last 5, included a defeat in Lecce.
Yes, and they were leapfrogged by Inter in the game that Inter won 3-2 before the break, where Atalanta were too naive at the back, left too many spaces. We saw glimpses of the old Atalanta, good going forward, but not very balanced. Only 1 clean sheet for Atalanta in the last 7 for a team that for long spells of the season had the best defense in Serie A. But some of the wins that they got were a little bit scrappy, a little bit lucky. I still remember the win at the Olimpico against Roma, for example. Still the best defense away from home with 4 goals conceded alongside Lazio and Juventus. It is an and Atalanta that we said is work in progress. I think Gasperini initially try not to go forward too much to find the right balance in the team. The good news for Gasperini is that they are injury free, so he's got back the back line, the three defender Gimisti, Palomino, Toloi, only Demiral sideline, the two wing backs Mahel and Atebor will play, probably a front again Zapata and Muriel, although I'm not sure how well they fit together, but Lukman is always ready to come from the bench and had a good season. And for Spezia, they're doing the job at home, at Picco. They always scored at least a goal in every single home games. They got 10 out of their 13 points at home. They scored 11 at home, the same goals as Fiorentina and Atalanta when they play at home, 4 more goals than at Roma when he plays at home. So obviously they do build everything on the home form. And it is an attacking side, though. I think they're going to go with Zola, which last season was frozen out by Thiago Motta, but now we got his playing many more minutes, with Gyasi, with Agudelo. They are counter-attacking when they play away, but, when they play at home, they're a good side. Third for corners in Serie A, Spezia. You wouldn't think about it, but actually, when they play at home, you could expect, I think you could expect goals. Both to score, 179.
Both to score, in your opinion. Casanova is going for an under 2.5 goals. Actually, Atalanta, they've been very stingy in the Serie A, especially in the games that they've won. Now, as Danny was saying, against Inter, for instance, in the last game, there were 5 goals in the games, but this is Atalanta, as we are saying, throughout the season, they are not scoring nor conceding many goals this season. Next game, Danny, is Torino Verona, and I had to double check the odds for this game, to be honest, to see Torino to win 1.89 right now, and they are facing Verona. They look like a Serie B team, only 5 points, only 1 victory, 10 defeats in a row. The last victory was in September against Sampdoria, and Torino, actually, Danny, they were in good form before the break.
I'm taking that 189 straight away. I'm going for it straight away because I think it's way, way too high for a side, Torino, that are recently beat Milan, recently drew with Roma. They finished on a high. Okay, it's a side that doesn't have a proper recognized number 9 striker, although they're getting back a few injury players, and the return of Miranchuk has been really important. They only scored 16 goals, Torino, so the goal difference is still negative, -1, but only 1 defeat in the last 5 for a very aggressive side. Torino, under Juric, normally, we saw it last season as well, at home, they do deliver. They got a strong defense as well, despite losing Bremer in the summer, only conceded 4 at home, joint second best defense alongside with Inter. Only Juventus conceded less goal when playing at home. And the fact that they play Verona, bottom of the table, -8 points from Spezia, the worst defense of Serie A. They conceded 20 goals in the last 10 games, so 2 goals per game. And really, when you look at them, okay, sometimes they've been a little bit unlucky. Since the change of manager with Bocchetti, they have created a little bit more, but again, they do miss a goal scorer. So we're expecting a little bit more from Verdi, not in terms of goal score, but of chances created. He's still not there. They got 2 away draws this season. They both were 1-1, but mostly they've been on the back foot. They're gonna be without 2 important players here, Faroni and Ilic. Still, if I look at the midfield of Verona, I think this midfield is not very good. They haven't got somebody who can control the game throughout, and that was the same last season. Torino win. 189. It looks too good to be true.
Indeed, grab these odds. Again, I have to double check to see if they were true. Perhaps the bookmakers know something that we don't, but they look way better than, for instance, Roma to win. The next game is Roma-Bologna. Roma to win is only 1.6. They are facing Bologna, a team that they were doing very good before the break, 4 victories in the last 5. Of course, very sad because Mihailovic passed away, the former manager. Now, with Thiago Motta, the team is performing really well. And because Roma, they were in turmoil before the break. In the last 5 games, they only beat Sampdoria, with many strange situations, as always happen around Roma, around Karlsdorp, with Mourinho. There is this self-destruction thing that Roma was performing again in their blood. It's in their blood.
Despite everything, despite being 3 points behind Lazio and Inter, despite losing the derby recently, the crowd, the supporters are still with Mourinho, and I think that tells you how much important is the Portuguese manager, how much charisma he's got, how much he's able to revitalize the environment. Roma are only 7th. You could say they are underperforming in the second season of Mourinho, but of course the echo of the win in the Conference League is still big. But I think Roma's season really took a wrong turn as soon as Dybala got injured. Now Dybala is back. Of course, world champions after scoring the penalty of fear, the worst penalty of the sequence of penalty was scored by Dybala. But he is a world champion and he comes back fully fit. He hasn't played much in the World Cup anyway. And alongside Zaniolo and Labram, who lost his spot in the national team of England. He was basically on the plane, but then had the dreadful 3 months, hasn't scored. So they should really kick on again the season, otherwise Roma risk to be again outside of the Champions League. Only 18 goals scored for Roma, less than Bologna and Salernitana, just to give you a perspective. Only 10 points at home, where they should be stronger. 3 defeats, only 7 goals scored at home. Yes, the last few home games for Roma have been really, really poor because of the lack of creativity, the lack of cutting edge, because Dybala wasn't there. And now Bologna, they are on a high since they changed the manager. The change of manager really worked. They got now a proper attacking style, a bit more modern. They keep possession better. 4 wins in the last 5. Always score in the last 7 games. Bologna, probably one of those teams, again, that maybe the break wasn't most favorable for them because he stopped the good run. They score against Lazio, they score against Fiorentina, they score against Inter recently, although lost 6-1, scored 2 against Napoli. So you could imagine this could be a goal fest, because I think Roma going to be fired up. Bologna not just going to sit back and defend. Over 2.5 goals, 214.
It's going to be interesting to see fully fit against Zaniolo and Dybala playing together. Hopefully, this partnership can work. And the other team from the capital, Lazio, they are traveling to the south of Italy, to Puglia, to Lecce. Lazio doing really well. They are in Champions League spots despite the last defeat, 3-0 against Juventus. But Dani, is not easy to go to Lecce this season. They had back-to-back victories before the break against Sampdoria, against Atalanta. They have 8 points margin with Cremonese. And again, when they've lost at home, they always put a fight.
Always, and they won the last 2, unbeaten in 3, Lecce. And this is a brilliant point that you make. They managed to score against all sorts of teams, and they always manage to score against top teams. Score against Napoli, score against Atalanta, score against Inter, score against Fiorentina, Roma. Lost 1-0 to Juventus, hit the post in the last minute, so they should have deserved at least a goal. Very organized team, a team that spends most of the time defending in their own half, but they could be really dangerous on the counter-attack with quick players like Banda, Strefezza, Ceesay, and they got Colombo as well on loan from Milan, who's doing well. So it is a team that is really, very well structured, I would say. Perhaps not many people expected them to be so well prepared for Serie A, and with a good defense as well. Lazio, they're 4th, level with Inter. Is a good season because they only lost 3 games, although the last one was a bad 3-0 defeat at Juventus. But it's been a Lazio built on the defensive solidity. Only conceded 4 away goals so far this season, kept 5 away clean sheets, second best defense in total in Serie A behind Juventus with 11 goals conceded. It's nothing like Sarri ball. It is a very compact Lazio, good defense. The additional Romagnoli helped, and now Lazio, when they get everyone fully fit with the starting 11 with Immobile, Zaccagni, and Anderson, they could be threatening also Milinkovic-Savic, who came out, of the World Cup relatively early, and he was by far the best midfielder in Italy before the break. Immobile fully fit, both teams with basically no injuries. I can see goals here. I can see Lazio maybe scoring a couple, Lecce giving Lazio some troubles. And, the odds for over 2.25 goals are so good, 203. That means if there are only 2 goals, you lose half your stake. More than 2 goals, you win 203.
Great odds. Hello, Marco Paul. Welcome back. He's missing you. Danny, we were all missing you. We were all missing Serie A, and I'm sure Juventus fans were missing their team because they were really in form before the break. Still far from Napoli, 10 points away from Napoli, but 6 consecutive victories with no goals conceded in Serie A, so they were back in track. And going to Cremona, I guess is good news for Juventus. Danny, still no victories for Cremona, no victories in 2022 in Serie A. We can say that for sure. Only 7 points this season. So Juve to win 2-0, perhaps Juve still with options, Danny, to fight for the Scudetto this season?
Well, I think they are -10 from Napoli, so this is a key is a key round of fixtures, because obviously Napoli plays Inter and Juventus plays before them, and Juventus still have to play Napoli before the first round of fixture finishes. So it somehow is in the hand despite a bad start. But yeah, the numbers are there. 6 wins to 0, 7 wins in the last 8, only conceded 2 goals in the last 8 against Milan. They got the best defense. Nothing spectacular, nothing fancy, back to the basics. The good news for Juventus is Allegri has been able to add few young players, the likes of Fagioli, Miretti, Suale. They're playing healing as well. They've been playing many more minutes, and that's given more vigor to this Juventus that for the first part of the season has been without Pogba. Chiesa, Di Maria has been hit and miss because of the injuries. So now they're getting slowly these players back. Actually, I'm expecting Chiesa to start this one. Plus the young players, we should see the better face of Juventus. So this has been the big alibi for Max Allegri all season long so far. Let's wait for the big players to come back. Now, as soon as the big players come back, they go. No excuses. The way form for Juve is not great so far this season. That's why the odds are so high for Juventus against newly promoted Cremonese, because they only scored 4 goals away from home in Serie A. They conceded 4. They lost 2 games. Plus, obviously, the 3 games away that they lost in the Champions League. The question mark with Juventus is how much the issues outside of the pitch will affect them. We know that there is an investigation from Italian magistrate on the plusvalences or something linked to financial misgivings and misbehaviors. It's not obviously Juventus only involved, but we know the whole hierarchy of Juventus from Agnelli down to Nedved, they all resigned. So it is a big moment for Juventus. It's a big transition. Let's see how much Allegri can isolate the team from what's going on. There is even the talk of Juventus being deducted point or not being able to qualify for the next UEFA competition. So there's a massive question mark on Serie A season so far. But staying on the pitch, they will have Chiesa starting. There will be Keane, Moise Kean up top, who was in a very good form before the break. Vlahovic, Pogba, Quadrado still will be out. I don't think Di Maria is going to feature anyway. And when it comes to Cremonese, the last 2 home games, if we need to look at the positives, have been 2-0 against Udinese and Milan, but only 2 goals scored at home for a team that is a very attacking side. They always play with 2 up top, with Dessers, with Okereke. We put Askasibar behind the strikers. So they are 5th for shots overall in Serie A. But one of the worst attack is the lack of quality that really lets them down. Again, it is a team that concedes a lot. Cremonese's keepers, both Radu and Carnesecchi, who are both outstanding, are the keepers who have made the most saves in Serie A together. So obviously, defense is not quite working. If Cremonese doesn't find the net, they often concede and end up losing. Juventus to win 179 is great. I think it's as good as Torino to win against Verona. If you want to be a little bit adventurous, Asian handicap -0.75 pays 2. So basically, if Juventus wins by 1 goal margin, you win half your stake. You win 1, basically. If they win by 2 goals margin, you win 2. And I think it could be a good one to go.
Good odds, exactly, Danny, the same odds as Fiorentina to beat Monza at home. Fiorentina mid in the table, but they were in a good spell before the break. It's true that they lost to Milan in the very last minute, but before that, 3 consecutive victories. They had a very slow start of the season. That's why they are in the mid-table, and they are facing Monza, one of the newly promoted teams that they are doing great, 9 points above relegation thanks to the victories, the last victories against Salernitana and Verona, and always Danny Monza in the newspaper because Berlusconi made weird promises during this Christmas period.
We can't repeat what he says. He says if you beat Milan and Juventus as you did, I'm gonna bring you a bus full of nice women. Let's put it that way. And then it's a joke. It's a joke. Okay. I mean, everyone laughed. Even
I don't see if it's a joke coming from Berlusconi. Perhaps it's actually
I think it's true. But Berlusconi's girlfriend was there at the dinner. She laughed. So as long as she's happy with that, we are okay. Who are we to judge? Monza, by the way, on the pitch they're doing well. So probably Berlusconi might have to deliver on his promise. No draw in 5, 5 wins, 4 defeats since they changed the manager. That was the right choice to get rid of Strop and get Palladino. Palladino with no experience in Serie A, but clearly clicks with the players, understand how to get to play. Good 3-5-2 with the wing backs really pushing forward. And I think with the midfield that Monza has with Rovella, with Sensi, with Pessina, they always gonna be a good side. Is a team that really can impose themselves in some occasions. They scored in 7 out of 9 games with Palladino. They do still concede a few goals when they travel, conceded 14 in 7. But the good news for them, we might see Pablo Mari back after the stabbing that he was victim of 2 months ago. He's training again with the side and probably might start again the Loani from Arsenal. Fiorentina, I think they kind of turned the corner. They qualified well in the Conference League. Now that they are free up from the double game each week, I think we could see better things from Fiorentina. Let's not forget last season were one of the most interesting tactically and technically teams in Serie A. So now with a little bit more of experience, I think they should climb up the table. 3 wins in the last 4 for Fiorentina, scored in all of the last 6 games. Recently, they beat teams that were beatable. Salernitana, Spezia, Verona, they drew with Lecce. So I think they're going to be on top on this one. And they're going to feature one of the best players in the World Cup, Amrabat. Sofian Amrabat. Everyone discovered him now. I've been watching him when he was playing at Verona, was a good player. But funny enough, last season, Amrabat only started 8 games for Fiorentina because they had Torreira. This season, they got Torreira playing more, and he shows how good a player he is. So, of course, a second important half of the season for him and for Jovic as well, who's got something to demonstrate. Both to score here. I think this could be an over 2.5 goals, but it doesn't pay too well. Both to score 191.
You are still a believer on Jovic. I lost my faith completely.
No, I think with the way Italiano plays, the strikers, look how good Vlahovic was under him. They're gonna create chance. He needs to be clinical and take them. But I think already got 5 or 6 goals in the tally, so it's not too bad. Strong second half of the season, and we might see a new player. We'll see.
Let's see if we see the Jovic we saw once upon a time at Eintracht. Marco is going for Fiorentina to win the second half. In this case, Fiorentina to win. The odds, again, are not bad at all. Danny, the game of the games, we have 2 late kickoffs, and one is Inter-Napoli, of course, the best game in this match day. Napoli, remember, 11 consecutive victories in Serie A. Last time they dropped points was in August against Lecce. Who would have said that? But Inter also, Danny, when we went into the break, they were in really good form. They won 6 out of the last 7. The last one against Atalanta away, always a difficult pitch. The game they lost was against Juventus, and probably they didn't deserve to lose. And I'm also curious to see how Lautaro is back from the World Cup, because he's a world champion, of course, but it was a big disappointment playing for Argentina.
Yes, I don't think. Let's start with Lautaro. I don't think he's gonna play on this one. He's gonna miss out. And yes, I think it was disappointing after all the World Cup. Although Lautaro contributed to the goal in the end for Messi, but yeah, to lose his starting place in I think it was disappointing. By the way, for Inter, we're gonna see Lukaku and Dzeko for the first time ever from the first minute. They only played 23 minutes together so far this season because Lukaku has been mostly injured. This is going to be an interesting one to see. And because, Dzeko is a very generous player, a player that drop deeps, helps a lot the team. I'm really interested to see how the two fit together because everyone thought obviously Lukaku and Lautaro are the best partner, but Dzeko is having a second youth. And, without Dzeko, Inter will probably be in relegation zone. Okay, these are the two best attacks in Serie A. Napoli is also the best away attack. They are unbeaten. Why are the odds so high for Napoli? That doesn't make sense. Napoli is the team that has cruised through the Champions League group stage with Liverpool and Ajax, that is killing Serie A, and yet Inter are the favorites. I don't understand it why. There are 11 points difference in favor of Napoli, which are totally deserved. And yes, okay, Inter are in a decent run or were in a decent run, but they lost to Juve, they lost to Roma, they lost to Milan, they lost to Lazio, lost to Udinese when Udinese were flying. They haven't won, lost to Bayern twice. They haven't won a single big game this season, apart from the 1-0 against Barcelona and that 3-3 at the Camp Nou. I don't understand why Napoli are so these favorites. The problem with the Inter is still, I think, the defensive phase, although in the second part of the season lately, they've been a bit better. Inzaghi has been very good at finding Çalhanoğlu as a replacement from Brozovic in front of the defense. They gave them a bit more stability. Still a doubt whether Brozovic is going to start this one or not. He picked up an injury in the third spot World Cup. But, it's a team that conceded 22 goals. They conceded 2 against Atalanta. They conceded 10 more goals than Napoli, 5 more goals than newly promoted Lecce. And maybe it's a problem of focus as well. The fact that Skriniar still hasn't signed a new contract and could leave for a free could be an issue. But is a thing. I think, Inter had their own issues. Really, they started the season too slowly, and now obviously everything is on Lukaku's shoulders. Lukaku basically unseen so far this season. Let's see if he can deliver in the second half. But I got my doubt that Inter are going to be better than Napoli on this one. I think Napoli are going to stretch Inter a lot, are going to keep the ball a lot. I think Inter are going to set up more defensively, try not to lose it, because if they lose it, they're completely out of the Scudetto race. I know they need to win, but there are still a lot of fixtures to be played. I think with Napoli, they're going to be with the best starting 11. And if you look at the left-hand side with Kvaratskhelia, against Dumfries and against Skriniar, Skriniar not great when he goes on the wide areas, and Dumfries not great defensively. I think that's where really they could hurt him, and also Osimhen as well. And then again, if you look at the big stars who haven't gone to the World Cup, Salah scored for Liverpool, good game. Haaland scored for Manchester City, very good game. Kvaratskhelia didn't go to World Cup. He missed the last 3 because of an injury, so it's going to be fired up. Osimhen didn't go to the World Cup, will be fired up. They're going to be fired up. They have rested. They watched the World Cup. They've trained. They're going to be in top form. And I'm expecting all the top strikers to score this weekend. So I'm expecting the likes of Immobile, perhaps even Abraham, Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia, either to score or assist. Look at the odds there. But I think for Napoli are not gonna lose this one. I can't see Napoli really going down and lose this game, but I like the double chance. I like also the Asian handicap 0 in the first half for Napoli, 221, if you want to be a little bit conservative. But check also Kvaratskhelia to score anytime, score or assist, Osimhen to score or assist. I think these are also good ones.
Very good points, Danny, you made, especially going for Napoli with these good odds. Armin, he says that maybe the break is not becoming good for Napoli. The truth is that they were that good before the break, Danny, that it's difficult. No, there are no signs to be pessimistic with them.
No. Why will they be worse now after all the play? Pretty much nobody from Napoli went to the World Cup, apart from Zambo Anguissa, Kim. They finished early anyway. the front three, Lozano again finished early. So the front three, Politano, Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia, they're going to be rested. Lobotka, one of the best midfielder in Serie A. But it's not just that they rested and they went to the beach. They rested, they need rest because they play far too much in the first half of the season, but they trained. And, with a top manager, with Spalletti, with the top teams, when they train, that's what they need. They're going to be fired up. They're going to be even better for the first weeks of the season. You could say the same about Inter, but I think Napoli so far have been better team. So that's why the odds for Napoli, you should take them, or a double chance at least.
We have so many comments and tips for this game. Marco is going for a super draw at halftime and full time. Armin, Napoli to score. Good for an ACCA or for a safe bet. 1.3. Yes. Bonjobu, Napoli to win corners. Mili, Napoli to score over 1.5 goals in the first half. And Bonjobu is also optimistic with Lukaku anytime scorer. I wouldn't go for this, especially after seeing his last performance in the World Cup against Croatia. But he has to focus. Of course, Romelu Lukaku back from injury. We expect much more from him. He didn't show absolutely anything in the first months with Inter due to injury. So let me know in the comments your tips for this massive game. Inter Napoli, and we still have one more game, Danny, for this match day is Udinese Empoli. Udinese, one of the best teams in the first 10 games of Serie A. After that, they lost to Napoli 3-2 before 3 consecutive draws. So they are winless actually in the last 7 in really bad form. And Empoli, they haven't been brilliant this season, but they are 10 points away from Cremonese. So this is what we asked them to stay again in Serie A. And when they are traveling, they are not bad. They only lost 2 away games.
No, I think they're good. Empoli, they are where they want to be. 2 wins in the last 3, plus 10. They got better. I think Paolo Zanetti last season experience with the Venezia, got relegated. Now they got a better team. They play good football. I don't think they're just launching it long. They do the good side. I think only 1 away win, 1 draw, 2 defeats to 0 recently, but they were to Napoli and Juventus. They don't score many goals. I think for a team that has been strengthened, okay, they lost Pinamonti, but they got Destro this season and Satriano. They only score 5 away goals. Anyway, still better than Juventus. And Udinese, they look tired. I think they started the season very strong. They were one of the fittest team. And as the season went on, they looked tired. Probably it was natural. No wins in 7 for Udinese, scoring 5 out of the last 7 though. So they're still a team that can find the net. Only 1 home defeat so far this season for Udinese. They've been very good at the Friuli. They lost 2-1 to Torino, but remember they beat Inter there, scoring 6 out of 7 home games so far. A bit of injury news here. Deulofeu and Destro might be missing one, but Udinese still got Imbeto and Success. Good firepower. Empoli got also goals from the midfield, the likes of Bandinelli, for example. No, Bandinelli, sorry, plays for Monza, but I mean, they got good size there. Maybe it's a little bit of an upset here on the card. I mean, the Udinese win, I like it, 2 or 3, but if you want to be a little bit more cautious, if you go for the Asian handicap, Empoli plus 187, I think you get yourself a little bit of cover. I don't think Udinese are going to trash Empoli. So if it's a win by a small margin, in which case you get your money back. But if it's a draw or a win for Empoli, with a very good return for a Nation handicap plus 187.
Our friend Mili is being cautious with this one. Udinese Asian handicap 0. I guess this should pay around 1.5, more or less. Could be kind of a safe bet. And since we've analyzed, Danny, all the 10 games we have in our return for Serie A on the 4th of January, let's see which one is your favorite bet for this match day.
For me, I'm going to go for a goals game at Lecce Lazio over 1.75 goals, 155. I think Lazio got a very great attack. Everyone is fit. Lecce will contribute to the scoring. So yeah, over 175 goals, 155.
Okay, we had good odds also. Remember, Torino to win, Juventus to win. Danny highlighted all the good bets in this match day, and perhaps you use some of them, Danny, for your ACCA of the week.
Milan to win against Salernitana, Atalanta to beat Spezia, Torino Verona. Okay, let's be cautious, 1x, but I think you can even go for a Torino win. Juventus to win at Cremona, Napoli Inter, both teams to score, total odds 10.40.
High odds. Actually, this is a very good ACCA, Danny, with good odds to hopefully get some money after spending this Christmas before or after the New Year's. Time to get some money back. Hopefully, Danny, thank you. Enjoy your holidays. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year as well. Happy New Year for everyone. Stay with us, and thanks for your company.
Don't forget, press the like, subscribe, leave your comments, and see you for the next Serie A video. Bye-bye.
Ciao.